Well, hello, Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lawson here from 13 News Now. I want to talk about the tropics and give you an update here. We have some serious trouble brewing. Right now we have Tropical Storm Ian, and it's actually a fairly weak tropical storm, but it will become a hurricane and it will threaten the U.S. There's hardly any dispute about that. Meanwhile, it is expected to become a major hurricane. That's Category 3 or more on a scale of 1 to 5. Category 1 is 74 miles or more per hour. And then Category 3, you're talking 100 and some miles per hour. And of course, Category 5, the strongest of hurricanes like Andrew, like Camille back in the day. There have only been a few of those to ever hit the U.S. So that's a problem. We're going to talk more about how it might weaken a bit, though, right before landfall, which would obviously be good. Meanwhile, Florida is likely to bear the brunt of the impact. You say, uh-oh. Well, how about where in Florida? Well, we're going to talk about that here. Meanwhile, here is the system. Notice that spiraling right down here, again, south and west, actually about halfway between Jamaica and Central America, as that storm continues to ride northeastward, located right about there. It started actually near Venezuela, literally over part even of South America, and then drifted on toward the southern parts of the Caribbean, and now continuing to work its way eventually over here toward western tip of Cuba and intensify again into a major category. Might even become a 4. We thought a 4, then a 3, then maybe a 4. Now it's looking like maybe a 3. The good news is, we hope that as it starts getting a little bit closer to the U.S. coastline, some wind shear may tend to rip this storm apart a little bit. That would be a best case scenario, that we could get it to be down to a Category 1 or maybe a 2 or maybe even a Category 1 before it makes landfall. A huge, huge difference in the damage from a Category 1 versus a Category 3 system. Again, that is late in the week. So that's the official forecast. Where do we get that from? Well, basically, we take all the computer models and we look at the trends. Which ones are performing better lately? Which ones are more consistent? Not flip-flopping around. These are basically most, not all, but most of the computer plots. And you can see most of them have it coming here into the Eastern Gulf and heading toward the Florida Panhandle. There are a couple, including the European model, the ECMWF. Statistically and historically, that has been the most accurate model. It is one of the ones, I don't think it's the one shown here, but it's one of the ones that has it coming in somewhere right in central western Florida coast, maybe Fort Myers, maybe Tampa. This one will show it specifically. The red circles, that's where the storm is supposed to be located according to that European model. Lately, the GFS or American model has undergone a few upgrades, and from what I've noticed lately, has been doing better the last few storms versus the European model. So let's take that with a grain of salt. You can see both of them having it hitting the western tip of Florida sometime early in the morning Tuesday. The more lines you see around a storm, the deeper the pressure. So the white or the yellow in the American model, that means a stronger storm here than the European has. Now they start to play catch up a little bit, although the GFS still has it stronger, a lot more of those lines versus the red. But notice that European model then takes it somewhere here into the west coast of Florida, Fort Myers or Tampa, something like that, while the GFS still has it off to the east. Then we go through time. Sometimes, in fact, fairly often, a storm in that position would head out into the Atlantic. In this case, the GFS has it making landfall here, somewhere around roughly the Big Bend of Texas on the Panhandle. But the European model, after having it move that northwesterly direction, is now moving it almost due north and then eventually moves it back northwest. That puts both of them same place, same time, roughly over the beginning of the weekend, dying out or gradually falling apart there over Georgia somewhere. A lot can change many days out, but that's our current thinking. Now, we don't want severe weather, obviously, for our friends and family down across the Gulf Coast states, but we do need the rain. So it would be nice if somehow we could get it to weaken, not do damage down there, but yet still bring us the rain. Right now, we are thinking it certainly is likely to bring us some rain, and we need it. Notice very dry, the official yellow color out here for much of Central Virginia, dry. We've now gone into the moderate category for all of Hampton Roads here, and on the eastern shore, a severe drought. And obviously the farmers, lots of agriculture. You know, it doesn't matter if you're talking peanuts in Suffolk or tomatoes or whatever it is, soybeans, parts of Virginia Beach. A lot of agriculture around the area, so that's why we do need the rain. That's the latest on the tropics. We will continue, obviously, to watch this very closely. We have a lot of time to check it out as it heads north over the next 5 or more days.